hey, if you're a US citizen and you want to protect your retirement and you haven't got our free ebook yet, then you're really missing out. So click on the link in the description and find out how you can secure your retirement and your future today. Hi, Wim. How are you doing?
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Everything okay at the other side of the pond?
Yeah, we're all good. It's all good. Getting cold now, but yeah, we were just saying before we started recording, much colder for you.
It's quite some cold here, but have you guys noticed what date it is? I just mentioned it before you start recording.
Yeah.
It's a special day today because today is the last day about the debt ceiling raise from late Speaker McCarthy in the United States.
So it's going to cause some friction, right?
If they are not going to raise the debt ceiling again, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be big problems.
Big problems, not only in the United States, but I think worldwide.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Huge knock-on effect for sure around the world. Even in our experience, when we've looked at this in the past, even if they delay raising the debt ceiling, it still has an impact. Just the threat that it might not happen can often be not a good sign for people.
No. But one good sign is the things that you guys show behind you. Gold is always floating.
Yeah.
It's your best friend, isn't it? It's your best friend. It really is. And history has shown us that time and time and time again. In times of uncertainty, the people who have gone to gold or silver, precious metals in general, in real physical assets that are worth something, they have survived it. And they've even thrived in most occasions.
Yeah.
But that's for people to look at this themselves, do their own research, because we'll never tell them what to do, as we always say. We're not advisors. No. But we'll just point them in the right direction and guide them and share with them information that we've learned. And they can take it or leave it and go with it. But yeah, today's a big day, isn't it? It's going to be fascinating to find out what happens, how it plays out.
Have you seen?
It's like a big game, Wim. It feels like a big game.
Yeah. Have you seen what happened? I think starting a week ago in Spain.
Yes. Yeah.
Millions of people. It was never showed on the Dutch television. Never.
I don't think it was here. I haven't seen it, but then again, I don't watch it. But sorry, Wim, go on.
More than 1 million people only in Madrid. And that was because I called Charlie. It was in 42 big cities in Spain altogether.
Wow.
Because Pedro Sanchez is making a coup over Spain to stay in power.
Yeah, I can't think of where I got that information from, but yes, I had that information, but it certainly wasn't off mainstream news anyway.
No.
Big power struggle, right?
It's ridiculous, yeah. That's but things are going to change. So we don't have to wait a little bit longer. But
yeah, I think people in Spain have really woken up, haven't they? It's like a big slap in the face for them. What he's doing right now is, it's I don't know how to put it, but it's a no-go. He's desperately trying to struggle to hang on to that power, isn't he? But they've realised that's the thing. They're aware of it, aren't they? They're fully aware of what's going on.
And don't
what he's up to.
Don't FUCK with the Spanish guys. They've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's this information should be shared, though. It should be it should be on the news.
Yeah.
They pick and choose what they put out there, don't they? They really do.
Of course.
And it's so obvious right now.
That's why we are there with our channel. So
yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
You want to show me something? You want to show the audience something?
Yeah. So we want to show you some stuff, and this is what we've tried to put this in the most simple way possible, and that's, I would say, when me and James are putting content together to educate people and to show people, keeping it simple is probably the most difficult thing that we do, because when things are simple, people can take action. When it's complicated or seems complicated, people just don't. So we want to just show you the truth about money. something that you hold in your pocket, you hold in your hand, that you use every day. So let me share this with you.
And you know, when people get this, Wim, when most people get this, they go, that's really straightforward and simple. Why have I not taken this on board in the past? Why have I not, because it is really that simple. So anyway, Adam, sorry, go on.
So look, we're going to just talk about paper money for a second. Let's say you've got a savings account where you're saving paper money in a bank. And we use this measuring jug here with water in just to kind of give an illustration. And you're putting money, your hard-earned money, into the jug. You're putting more water in the jug, yeah? Mm-hmm. And what you're getting is something called interest, which is also making the level of the water, the account, grow, okay? So the numbers in the account are going up, but the true value is actually down here. And the only way that this can be, the true value can be lower is if you've got a leak, and that leak is called inflation.
Absolutely.
Notice that the thickness of the line of the inflation is thicker than the thickness of the line of the interest, meaning more is going out than is coming in. And this is always the case. Nobody got rich saving in a bank account, because the difference between inflation and interest is always below inflation. So whatever you are getting, you are always giving more than you're getting.
Can I say something, Adam?
Of course.
And that people must understand. I don't know how it is in England, but the banks are not giving any interest for years. Yeah. You have to pay the banks to put your money in the banks.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So what you tend to get is when interest rates are low and you're not getting anything, or you're actually having to pay for money to be in the bank, inflation can be quite low as well. But there's always a difference. There's always a gap. When interest rates go up, inflation goes up as well. So again, there's always a gap. So you're always losing.
You're always underwater, Adam, aren't you? I think that's the best way to explain it.
So it doesn't matter how, because people look, the interest rate now is 5%, 6%. Look how much I can get. But they don't look at what they're giving away as far as inflation. They always take a one-sided view to what they're getting, which, if you want to live in that world, that's fine. But we want to tell you like the truth about what's actually happening. And whatever you are getting, you are always giving more than you're getting. This is the reality. Okay? So let's put some tangible numbers to that and show you what's actually happening. So let's imagine, and obviously interest rates and inflation is, they're different around the world, different countries, but we'll take just a generic approach. Let's say that the interest rate is 5%, okay? Yes. And inflation is 7%. So again, inflation is always higher than interest. Let's say you have £10,000, $10,000, euros. The currency is irrelevant. The same happens all around the world. So you've got 10,000. At the end of the first year, you've kept this money in a bank account. At the end of the first year, you've not put anything extra in. You've not taken anything out. You would make £500. That's your 5%, giving you a total of 10,500. This is the figure that you would see on the account.
Okay? Yeah, that's including the interest. You're only talking about the interest, right?
Only interest. So above this dotted line is interest. Now we'll get to the inflation under the line. If we take the inflation off this 10,500, we have to take off 7%, which leaves you with less than you started with, less than the 10,000 you started with. And that is how you lose £235 in 1 year. Let's be really clear. The figure that you will see in your account, the number you will see, will be 10,500. But the purchasing power is 9,765. The value has gone down with the number staying the same. And this is what we said last time, why it's so powerful in the negative sense. Because you don't see that you're being stolen from. There is theft happening.
An illusion. It's an illusion, a very clever illusion.
You don't see that they're taking your money because they just keep the number the same and they just lower the value. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, this is very good.
But this is what's happening around the world. So if you're putting money in a bank, and maybe this is a bit of a harsh message, but we have to be honest with people. If you are saving money in a bank, you are losing. This is the reality.
Yeah, you cannot save your way to financial independence, to a decent, a financially better place. You just can't be in a better place just saving all your life. It's near on impossible to just save money in currency in a bank and win.
Yeah,
you know,
you will always lose.
You're going backwards.
Always, and the system's set up like that. It's set up so that it looks attractive. You know, you don't pay anything for a bank account. Why? Because it's the path of least resistance. They want you to do it, and they give you interest. Why? Because they take your money and they can make more money with it. Like, if it's easy, then there's a reason it's easy.
Yeah.
So we actually think 5% interest and 7% inflation. I mean, these are like the official figures, but we actually think inflation is much higher than this. And I'm sure most people, if you look at your day-to-day expenses and how much they've gone up, you'll find the same.
I gave you an explanation about this in the first video we did. From dog food here in the Netherlands, from farm food. I'm gonna make an advertisement for it. Farm food was €4.50 a package of 9 rolls. Right now it's almost €10 in 3 years. So
just like that.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting thing about inflation is, so they have an inflation figure. So they say, look, this year's inflation is 10%, let's just say, just a round number. And then they say next year, oh, the inflation rate is only 2%. What that means is 10% and now 2%. It doesn't mean it's gone down by 8%. This is the illusion. Because 2 is lower than 10, you think, oh, maybe it's gone down by 8%. It means it's just gone up by a bit less, but it's still gone up. It's an increase on top of an increase.
Yeah.
So, oh, you know, inflation's down. Yeah, but it's still up. The price of things are still higher than they were 2 years ago. And inflation, if you look at over time, it never goes, the price of goods and services never goes backwards. So things will continually get more expensive through inflation. And the inflation figure just depends how quickly they get more expensive. But the truth is they are going to get more expensive. They're never going to go back. It never happens. It just doesn't.
No, never seen it.
No, exactly. So, you know, it'd be unlikely in 2 years that you go to get your dog food and it's back down to €4.50. Maybe next year it goes up to €11 and not to €15, but it's still going up just by a smaller amount.
Yeah.
So we actually think the inflation figure could easily be more like 15% for people.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be unrealistic, I don't think.
More realistic, isn't it, if you do your research? But please, anybody watching this, do your own research on this and just what does it feel like? Adam always says this, you know, you might be getting told this by the government, but do you feel that is correct? Do you feel from your shopping bills that the real them inflation figures are correct? And they're not at all, are they?
Like in the UK, they give you the inflation figures and they take a basket of goods and services and work out how much they've gone up from, you know, the previous month. But they manipulate what is in that group of goods and services. So, for example, they just take out food. Well, who's not eating? You can't say, oh, inflation's 7% if the food inflation is much higher than that and would have a bigger impact. So we just think, look, yes, be aware of what the the official figure is, but look at what it is for you. You know, they take out food and they take out fuel. Well, if you're not eating and you're not driving anywhere, then maybe. But I would say most people are eating and driving. So, you know, look at it for yourself. So at 15%,
it's a very clever way of stealing from the people.
Yeah.
Very, very clever, you know, from stealing from your own people without them really noticing. Because all they ever really focus on is the wage rises, if they have wage rises.
Yeah.
But like Adam said, inflation's always more. And like you said, we're fully aware of this, aren't we? So if you're just saving, your money's not going anywhere. It's going backwards, you know, and you're going to lose. You've got to learn how to make your money work and know where to put it to make it work for you and wake up and work for you and do, you know, and grow. So you can live a comfortable life. It's not about being a millionaire or anything silly for us. It never has been.
No.
It's about living a comfortable life and not having to worry about money.
So look,
And
at
that's why-
15% inflation, the top line above the line stays the same because the interest rate is still 5%. But below the line, the inflation element, you're taking 15% off. Now you're looking at 8,925, and that's how you lose £1,075. That's in the first year. If you're keeping this for 2 years, then you're going to lose even more again, and the third year, and it's just going to erode the value away. So this is the reality, the two I's, interest and inflation, and this is how they interact and work together in a very simple way with your paper money in a bank. So you can adjust these figures depending on where you are in the world and depending on how much you've got in the bank. But you will notice that inflation is always higher than interest. You're always getting less than you're giving.
Have you noticed though when they talk in the news, Adam and Wim, that or if they've got any good news with interest rates or that for savers, and they're like, oh yeah, great, it's 5 or 6% now and all this. But the amount of people
who are the us? Who are the us?
Well,
exactly. Yeah. Check
exactly.
your source.
You know, it's crazy because but due to the other eye, inflation, people are struggling and they've got a lot less to be able to put into savings anyway. They've got a lot less, if anything at all.
But why would the mainstream media say this? Hey, now it's 5%. You can actually get 5% on your money. But by the way, inflation's more like 10%, so you're still losing out. It's not good for business, right? So they just give you the positive. Look, over time, this is what currencies are designed to do. This is the value of the dollar. When you adjust for inflation, you can see that this is not a good graph. This is not a graph you want to be investing in.
No.
And this is what all paper currencies do. It's money that's not backed by anything. And when governments need more, they just print it. They create it out of thin air, and it lowers the value. This has happened time and time again.
Yeah.
So this is 50% of the picture. The 50% is paper money. And you have to look, what many people do is when they're choosing to invest in something, they look at the performance of what they're investing in. But they don't look at the performance of what they're swapping for this investment. And you have to look at both parts to get the full picture. Because if your money is, let's say your money was making 5% after inflation and everything, but you didn't take that into account, and then you were looking to move it into something that was making 4%, well, you're losing because your money's making 5% and this thing's making 4%. I know that sounds obvious, but a lot of people don't look at the performance of what they're giving up. They only look at the performance of what they're getting. And you need to look at the full picture. So we've looked at half the picture, and that is the performance of paper money. And it's not a good performance. It's not one that you would be proud of. So look, why do we buy gold? We have two reasons. The main reason is control, as we said before. We want to control what we've worked hard for. The second reason is performance. We know that it performs better than paper money. And that's what we're going to look at in this second half. So the performance of paper money. Let me ask you a question, Wim.
Okay.
I'll show you a graph now. And there's going to be 4 different colored lines on there. And I want you to tell me which colored line you would like to invest in. These are 4 different items, let's say. Which one would you like to invest in? Not a trick question. Which one of these would you like to invest in? This is the performance over time. Got the purple, the green, the blue, and the gold.
Especially not the purple. The purple is going down the drain.
Yeah.
The green is going down the drain.
Yep.
And the blue is going down the drain. So I'm not going to invest in any of them.
Yeah. What about the gold line at the top?
Oh, sorry. I haven't seen. No, I saw it was the line. But
Oh no, yeah. It's not the border of the box. It's an actual another
It's
investment, let's say.
absolutely the gold one.
Yeah. Well, this is the reality. This
Yeah.
is what you're by saving in fiat currency, in paper money. This is what you are actually saying. I am betting, I am investing in this performing asset.
Absolutely.
And it's not a good picture. Like they've all unanimously dropped off a cliff. And this is only up to 2018.
Going
So
worse up to now.
even worse.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just want to give people a wake-up call. You're not taught this stuff in school. It's not a very positive message from banks and politicians that your paper money is losing value, but this is the reality. So compared to gold, paper currencies do not hold their value. And believe it or not, Wim, they're not actually designed to do that. They're designed to lose value.
Yeah.
Average lifespan of a currency is around 27 years.
Always.
I mean, think of all the currencies that have been and gone. And when they're revalued, it's always a worse situation for the people. They always revalue in a worse situation.
Yeah.
So there's been around 750 paper currencies over time that have been around, been printed into oblivion, and then gone to zero. And gold has been around for, well, since the beginning of time.
Oh, thousands of years, yeah.
And it's seen these paper currencies come and go and is still stood strong. So this is one of the reasons why we like metals. We like gold. Let's look at the performance. So this is the performance of gold versus different currencies. Okay. And the first thing to note is, and this over the last 15 years. So the first thing to note is it's mainly green. Gold has mainly had a positive performance against paper currencies, which is good. But it's not all green. There are some red years as well. Nothing goes up in a straight line with no dips. Anyone that tells you, look, invest in ... XYZ, and it always goes up and it always will, and you'll be a millionaire next week, run a mile from those people, because it doesn't exist. In our experience, we've never been lucky enough, let's say, to find anything like that. But we can find something that's mainly green, mainly positive, and we can capitalize on that.
Let's add something there, Adam. I think I have mentioned this. I have mentioned this before. Anybody watching this might obviously notice that 2013. Look at the red on 2013. Across the board, minus 28%, minus 16%, 23%, 30%. You know, you might look at that and go, "Oh, wow!" But like Adam said, most of the time it's green. But if you knew what you were doing, and if you invested in metals at that time, they were cheap as chip. You know, that compared to now, the prices back then compared to now. If you bought them back then, you'd rather buy something, wouldn't you, when it's on sale? So if you swapped paper currency for metals back then, and you were in it for the long term, which you should be for precious metals, then guess where you'd be today? And that's when I started, 2013. I think it was a little bit before then, but literally the prices are going down, down, down. They went down for a few years, really, and sideways when I first started for several years. And then all of a sudden, you know, as long as you're in it for the long game, Adam, isn't it? It's not a short game. We always say 4 or 5 years plus, don't we? Normally, for most people.
Yeah, the longer the better. I think it's
The longer the
interesting
better.
because if there's a sale on in the local clothing store or electrical store, people are queuing outside the door to get a we call it a bargain, like a good deal.
Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday, all these things. Whereas and people at that point, because of marketing, know that is a good time to buy. But when assets go down in price, strangely enough, people want to sell.
Opposite. Yeah.
And we get excited when the prices go down because we know that the metal is on sale and we can get a good deal. So
it's a little bit frustrating if we haven't got spare cash to get a good deal, though, isn't it, Adam? But it's great when you've got spare cash. We're like, oh, get it while it's cheap. Yeah. But it's a different mindset, isn't it? You know, we never used to think that way.
Yeah. Say again, Wim.
Sorry. Can we say something? What I know from my contacts is that the price of gold is going up.
Yeah, we can see it too.
So go
And
into
look, and this is the long-term view.
Yeah.
There's going to be dips along the way, but if it's the long-term view that you take, then yeah. And I think the benefit we've got is we've actually done this journey for, I mean, James like 10 years with metals, and me like 8 years. And we've seen the peaks and the troughs and everything in between. So it doesn't phase us now, but we're just trying to pass that knowledge and experience on, that you got to do the opposite of what you think. So if you're wanting to sell when it goes down, you should be buying.
You've got to do the opposite to the masses, really, haven't you?
Yeah, the
But
opposite.
we're trying to help the masses to change their mindset and learn this,
Yes.
because the masses lose out. Time and time again in history, the masses lose out. You've got to go against the grain, we would say, in most occasions, to be in a better place. See what the masses are doing, and if you do the opposite, I would personally say, on most occasions, you'll be in a better place.
What I see, the first graphic you showed me about the interest and this, if people are watching very closely, you can see that gold at the end, even when there is a dip, you still have way more money value when you put your money only in the bank.
I think as well, Wim, you're totally right, and it's about potential.
Yeah.
If the general trend of gold is to go up over time, then you are holding something that has the potential, a very good chance and a good potential of going up. Yes, there will be dips, but the general trend is up and to the right. If you are holding paper and you look at its historic performance, which is all we can go off really, it doesn't have a chance of making more value, of going up in value. It's only going down.
It's because you can print currency to oblivion, and that's what they've done. You cannot print gold. That's the simplicity of it. Yeah. Sorry, Adam, for cutting in there, but that's literally what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. So look, just going back to these figures here, we've got greens, we've got some reds, that's fine. What we focus on is the average down at the bottom, which is the average per year. So you can see what's kind of, a longer term view going on. Okay, so this is the last 15 years. But you might say, well, what about a longer period? What's it done over an even longer period? And if you're watching this and you've taken nothing else on board, maybe, what we've said's not been clear, this will sum it up for you in kind of one picture. So let's imagine in 1910, you want to buy a car. Okay, nice car there. It would cost you $863 for this car, or 1,300 grams of gold. This is what it would be worth back in that day. If we take that paper money, that $863, and notice, look, dollars, euros, pounds, whatever, it's all the same. It's all fiat currency, not backed by anything. If we take that paper money and we put it under our pillow and we pull it out in 2022, what's it going to be worth? And what can it buy you? Well, $863, we always joke and say you might get 3 wheels, but you're not going to get 4 wheels, maybe 2 wheels, maybe. So paper money, as you can see over the long term, is not maintaining its purchasing power. This car in 2022 would be around $75,000, and surprisingly, or 1,300 grams of gold. So what this shows you is 1,300 grams of gold is maintaining its purchasing power over the long term, and paper money is not. It just doesn't do that job. So as goods and services are getting more and more expensive, gold is also going up and keeping you in line with what's going on. Paper money, you are losing every single time. And this is the reality. So if people can save in, let me say this a different way. It's about having the right tool for the job. If you're wanting to do day-to-day transactions, yes, paper money. Paper money is good for day-to-day transactions. Dollars, euros, pounds, they're accepted all over. Yeah. But it's a terrible store of value long-term. So pick the right tool for the job. Good for day-to-day transactions, not good as a store of value. Gold, not so good for day-to-day transactions. You know, I can't imagine going into the supermarket and handing over some gold or silver. Like, they would just look at you in a very strange way. But gold is a very good long-term store of value. So you have to decide, what is the job I want doing, and what is the best tool for that job. And paper money is not good for long-term store of value.
It's perfect for people who have just got cash sat in a bank doing nothing.
Yeah.
Doing nothing. You know, if they don't need it to feed their families and pay their bills, etc., it's perfect for people like that. For a lot, you just move it, you just swap it. It's so straightforward and simple. You just swap the currency, the precious metals, and leave them alone. Let them do their bit. You know, they sit, as Adam says, they sit in a cold, dark room in a vault, and you just let them, you know, appreciate over time and do their bit. They do it very well.
It's a very boring investment, and most people don't say that. They like to make investments, you know, very sexy and shiny, and this is very boring. Like James said, it sits in a cold, dark room and does nothing. There's no moving parts, but it maintains its value, and we like boring. If boring does the job, great. We're happy about that. Does that make sense, Wim?
Yeah, this makes very sense, because I was thinking 20 years ago, you could save money here, and you have to put it for a certain time before you can persuade it back.
Yeah.
For 10 years, and you can make interest on interest on interest on it. It's getting bigger, but the inflation, never knew about it at that time, but they were stealing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is
very clever tool. The system. I mean, many times we've spoken about this financial system that we all live within. We use, and we say it's broken. But I always go, I don't think it's broken. I always say it's been designed that way. It's not broken. It's been designed that way to work for the very few at the very top, not for us, the normal average hard-working family. And we've just got to learn that system to put the ball back on our side, in our favour. You've got to understand your enemy, haven't you? If you look at it that way, understand your enemy. You want to beat them. You have to understand them, don't you, and how they work.
People must understand that the elitists, why are they also always buying gold and precious metals?
Yeah,
I did my study. So are not we, the people that are watching this video, and the local people like us, are not doing the same?
Yeah, we always say, don't watch what their mouths are doing. They tell you to do this. Watch what their feet are doing, because they tell you one thing, but they do something different.
Yep.
And you need to do what they're doing, not do what they're telling.
No. I understand.
Even banks know that money doesn't have any value, and as soon as you deposit it, they get rid of it. They loan it out to someone, or so even banks don't like money. They know that it has no value. They want to get rid of it straight away, loan it out to someone, get it to work, get it doing something, get it, invest it in something else, rather than just having it sat there.
We hear all the stories, Adam, don't we? We've talked to so many customers, thousands now of customers, and the stories that they tell us, the feedback that they give us, where there was a story where a person had some gold in a bank, worst place to keep it though. And they tried to get that gold back, and they wouldn't give them the gold. They dragged the feet, and eventually they give them paper currency. They wouldn't give them the gold. They give them the currency, not the gold.
It's crazy.
We hear also
robber barons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So and as soon as people realise this, and we're just trying to encourage people like yourself, Wim, please share this information with your family and friends. Don't keep it to yourselves. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. Don't try and decide for them, because they might go, right, I get it.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, because I know I've done that in the past. I thought there's no point in me telling them about this because they won't be interested. No point telling them. But we just try and tell anybody that's in reach of us, and try and share information with everybody, and especially your children. If your child gets this, if they get this at an early age, look where they'll be in the future. They're going to have a better existence on this planet. They're going to have a great life, aren't they? They're going to be.
Mm.
They're not going to have to worry about money. If they understand about money at this stage of the game, when they're very young.
Mhm.
My little boy's 5 now, 6 in January, and I'm starting to teach him now.
Great.
And I'm sure Adam will be teaching his little girl. So you'll be
Yeah,
teaching
yeah,
her,
yeah.
won't you?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
choice.
It's little one.
I ask you guys something for my followers.
Yeah, of course.
How can they get in contact with you? This is my first question. And the second question is, how much, from what kind of money they can invest in precious metals?
Yeah,
People
two
always
good
ask-
questions. So there'll be a link in the description of this video, and they simply go to that website, fill in their details, and then we'll contact them and give them all the information.
Okay.
We tell you how we personally buy metals for ourselves. We still buy every 2 weeks now, and we show you exactly what we do, and that is buying metals. We store them outside the banking system in secure vaults, similar to this one, and it's protected and it's insured and it's audited and it's yours and you legally own it and you can do what you want with it. And we show you all of this stuff. We show you the account that we use for ourselves and all the features and everything like that. So yeah, click on the link, fill in your details, and yeah, we'll contact you. And look, even if you're not sure, just fill in your details and we'll send you the information, and then at least you've got something to consider.
Yeah.
We're not, as you can probably tell, we're not
We're not salespeople.
We don't try and force people. We don't want to convince anybody.
No.
We just give you the information, and it's your decision. People are not stupid; they're smart, and we just want to empower those people to, make the decision if they want to. As far as the amount that you can buy, we help people from every part of the spectrum. So
yeah,
some people come to us and they say, I've just sold my house and I want to put the whole proceedings into metals. We can help you with that. Some people say, I've got 20 euros a month that I want to put into metals. Fine, we can help you with that too. And everybody in between. So please don't rule yourself out if you think, the conversations we always have is, the people say, oh, I only have ...
Yes.
Yeah. And
I'm not a big fish. That's used a lot, isn't it?
I'm not a big fish. I'm not I'm not going to be a big customer, blah, blah, blah. And for us, it's irrelevant. The number is kind of irrelevant. It's the point of moving it from paper into metals. And yeah, you can start from as little as 20 euros, 10 euros, whatever you want to do.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. My last thing that I want to say.
Yeah.
People must understand, if they are watching the geopolitical news, banks are falling like flies, especially in the United States. So your money is not safe in the banks.
Yeah. Yeah. You're at risk. You're vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
I'd be terrified if I had my savings in the bank. I'd be terrified right now, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Me too.
I would just say to people as well, when you hear that a bank is in trouble on the news, it's usually too late. It's usually the event has already happened. The news is delayed. So yeah, do something while you can. And even if that means, yes, you need money in your bank account to pay for day-to-day services and goods and things like that. You don't have to move everything into metals or everything in the bank. You can put part of it in metals and still have some in the bank. It's not
a percentage of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not it doesn't have to be extreme.
But to say something there, Adam, too, the words that we've used there, like I said, I'd be terrified leaving my savings in the bank. We're not using that as some sales technique, because we've seen all that, and the way salespeople sell things, they terrify people to death. And then they panic and they go panic buying, don't they? It's none of that for us. It's just the way we feel. We're saying it as it is. I would not feel safe having my savings in the bank right now, and I haven't for a very long time, actually. And I helped all my family do this first. Yeah. Well, I threatened some of them because I said, you are taking it out.
Yeah.
Get it out,
you can do that with your family, though, right? You can be a bit more persuasive.
But I tell you now, they're very happy we did. They're very happy we did. I did bully them into it, initially. They all listen to me now, personally now, because we've been going that long and they've seen the results. And it's easy for us to say all these things because, like me personally, I've had 10 years in this business within metals, and Adam's had 8 years. We've seen the results, as we said earlier. So for people just starting out, they haven't seen that yet, have they? And a lot of people have to see things before they truly believe them.
Yeah.
But I think the more you learn, the more you learn, the more knowledge you gain, and the more you invest in yourself and increase that knowledge base, the more you get confident with what you're doing. And and the sooner you start, the better. There's no wrong time other than tomorrow, I would say.
Yeah.
But just get started and do something, even if it's just a little bit. Just take that first step. You don't have to go in, and you don't have to sell your house, your kids, your animal, your pets.
Yeah.
You don't have to, because that's where some people go. They've watched a video online. They've been terrified. They've been scared half to death. They come to us and go, "I want to sell the house, the car, my kids, the lot, everything, and put it into metals." And that's not a good idea either.
No.
On most occasions, but we'll try and go.
Fair commerce.
Yeah. So just I would say a good idea is to start, but you can always increase. So if you're wanting to start small and then build up, totally fine.
So we do.
Yeah, hope that's been useful anyway, helpful for people.
So
yeah,
I want to thank you guys for all the information. So people, if you want to get in contact with those great guys, click on the link and you will see them on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Wim.
Thanks, Wim. Pleasure.
Hey, take care. It's always good speaking to you, mate.
Thanks.